Ahoy! I hope you guys are as excited as I am because it is time for New World launch. If you're playing on the European servers, you may already be playing right now. If you're with me, you're still waiting a little bit. But in that time, we can talk about the patch notes. Now, this patch is not very big, but there's something very interesting in there that I'm very happy about. So, let's get right into them. First, we have the world experience. Worlds fixed the following following respawn rates for named AI that are required for quest completion. Master Henry, who was spawning like every 6 minutes or so and always had a Zerg around him. Geist, Maliko, and Pastor Welsh. So those were really annoying. I'm really glad they're fixed, and I'm sure they'll do some more later in the bigger or the higher level territories when the demand is there. But that's a good one. But the big ones are here. Quests. Fixed a bug that caused completing certain side quests could block players from being able to advance the quest Corruption Encroaching, so main quest basically. Addressed an issue where by resetting the ritual quest, players would lose the hard gem needed to complete the quest. This one is a really awkward one anyways because you can accidentally use the hard gem on the object before you kill the boss because somebody else may have killed the boss first. So a little bit annoying. I don't know if they fixed that part, but I'm thinking that it will be the case because you could fix it then by resetting it. And obviously if the item that you needed gets lost on the way, then that wouldn't fix it at all after all. So also a nice fix. Updated Barkimedes quest to address an issue where players could leave mid-expedition and stockpile quest items for extra quest turn-ins. Also a very huge one because a lot of people were basically planning to abuse that. You could collect bones in the dungeon, then walk out, hand them in, and go back into the dungeon and collect more bones. And yeah, that was obviously a bit scummy and not intended. And then we have unlocked the main story quest after the Depth Expedition. The main story will now take players all the way to Shattered Mountain. This was hinted at when you completed the quest in the closed beta or the open beta. I think it was actually part of the open beta already. But anyways, now you can do it properly and you can actually get where you want to get with it. And then you have various voiced over and text files and tweaks, whatever. We have some tech stuff on the side. Fix an issue in the Windswood Soul Survivor quest where sometimes the quest would not update when approaching the Watcher. Fix an issue that could cause helpless how animations to not play correctly. Notable bug fixes. Fixed multiple bugs preventing AI from properly leashing or spawning in invalid areas. Also very important, there were some really frustrating glitches with the leashing. Here's the really big stuff. Notable bug fixes. Fixed an issue that caused players to become permanently stuck in exhausted state. That was a very common one, so you couldn't dodge anymore or block. Speed hack prevention added. They, by the way, in general have anti-cheat measures in the game now and certain other additional things that kind of prevent you from like leveling through glitches too fast and stuff like that. So that should be very safe now, hopefully. Then fix an issue that caused war to get stuck in the setup phase. Fix an issue that allowed players to receive PvP rewards from duels by drowning others once the duel's complete. Fixed an issue that caused PvP flag to stay active in sanctuaries if players dodge rolled across the border. This was very funny because people could kill you from outside the sanctuary if they had ranged weapons, but they couldn't walk in and attack you. Fixed an issue that caused the Iced Refresh perk from the Ice Gauntlet to activate from abilities other than the Mighty Spike ability. This was extremely abusable because this even worked with certain gems. You could slot a frozen gem and proc it with completely different weapons. That is obviously not how this was intended to be. Now this will be a relatively weak perk likely, but better this way than completely broken on everyone, and the Ice Gauntlet still has some problems anyway, so yeah, it's not completely done, let's put it this way. And then we have my favorite change of the patch. PvP damage scaling adjusted to lessen the gap between high and low level players. Now they don't specify by how much. I'm expecting it's going to be a middle ground between the original scaling from closed beta and the one that we had in open beta. But obviously, especially my company and I want to PvP a lot and we want to do like outnumbers fights and stuff like that. In order to do that, the scaling has to be somewhat fair because otherwise that's just not very possible. Otherwise, you just have the high-level player stomping everyone. I think this will make the whole game experience a lot more welcoming for new players as well, a lot more fun because, you know, now there's a mix of trying to get the right gear and trying to still just play well in general. And we'll, of course, have a look to see how that scales properly now, it's like how that is in comparison. So we'll look into that in the future. Then we have some more bug fixes on the economy progression and reward side. Fix an issue that allowed players to use the item hotbar to duplicate items. So that was a problem as well. The duplicate glitches, there were quite a few. That's solved. Fix an issue that caused tier 4 and tier 5 ASOS staves to be unavailable. They'll obviously be with the quest now anyways. Fix an exploit where a war declaration mechanic could be used to duplicate coin, something that was very commonly used, now fixed. Fix an issue that caused a player's PvP reward value did not reset if they respawned at a camp. This is a bit like awkward because this is basically a bug that was abused by some companies trying to power level everyone by just having a bunch of people dying in a camp over and over. At the same time, I think if someone dies in the wild, it's a bit unlucky that their reward will always fully reset because the reset on the reward is pretty hard. So if you're unfamiliar with this, the longer you're flagged for PvP, the bigger the reward another player gets for killing you is. So if you just run out of town and die immediately, then there's basically no reward in comparison. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that they had to solve it this way, but better than the other way around because people were literally like power leveling with it. Adjusted the recall function in the game menu to enable players to recall to the watchtower of the beach they started at. After binding to an inn, the recall function will return players to that inn. This one's very interesting for reasons that I will not specify. Those of you who know why will know why, otherwise I'll tell you tomorrow. Streamer mode added. We added a new streamer mode that will allow streamers and players to hide notifications and avoid interaction with other players to improve their overall experience while playing the game. This is in the social settings, by the way, and this is something you can consider turning on anyways. From my understanding, you will still get a small notification in the corner. There are some really big notifications for like group and company invites and trade invites that are just a bit in the way. So you might as well turn it off anyways, even if you're not a streamer, if you don't want that to like have like blocking like a major part of your field of vision. Players can turn on streamer mode by doing the following ways: doing the / command / busy or DND, or the social tabs on the menu. So this is something that really isn't just for streamers. Then we have polish a new edition, reduce the numbers of days governor has to be absent before console automatically replaces from 30 to 15 days. Voice over IP is now disabled for the first 3 hours after character creation to limit poor voice behavior. That is understandable. I think the beaches would be a bit messy otherwise. Activated Twitch Spotlight and Twitch Sub-Army features, which is just where you can link your Twitch account and have people join your company, like your subs and stuff like that. So if that's something you want to do, this is a very easy way to make a streamer company. And then some bug fixes here as well that are really important. Fix an exploit that allowed players to take PvP missions without being flagged via exploiting dueling. And fix an exploit that allowed companies to be able to repeatedly declare war during the invasion lockout period. So when an area was getting invaded by PvE mobs and not by an actual war, but before the invasion was scheduled, to duplicate coin from the refunded war declaration costs that you never actually had to pay. So, very good changes overall. Still some things that I'm surprised not to see here, like for example gem scaling, but knowing New World patch notes, there are more changes that are not mentioned here. So, of course, we'll try and figure out what else has happened. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more. A bit surprised that the abilities, the weapons were not touched a little bit more, but I'm expecting we'll see some of that later after launch probably. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this. I'll be playing later today on my stream, twitch.tv/DukeSloth, if you want to check that out. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit the sub button and maybe the bell so you get notified of other upcoming videos. I have a little bit of a speed run just for fun going up later today for the early levels just to show you that, even though there's now a new way, I guess, with this patch. But yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you for the next one very soon. DukeSloth out.